Did you know that you can actually get stronger than ever after 65? So many people believe that strength declines as we age, that it's downhill after a certain age or after a certain number. But that is not necessarily true. With the right approach, the right exercises, the right routine, you can build muscle, improve strength and mobility, and move with more freedom like you did in your 40s and in your 50s. I'm excited to dive into this. Welcome on in, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, and let me know where you're tuning in from. And this is something that I see every day in my clients. So this is the age range of the clients that I typically work with. I work with people of all ages, from teenagers to seniors, but 65 to 75 makes up about 80% of the clients that I work with. So I see this all the time. And I wanted to share a story about my client, John, who is 75 years old. I've been working with him for over 10 years. We work virtually online, so we don't even do this in person with any fancy equipment. But he has been exercising with me on a regular basis for 10 years. And aside from the fact that he has some general stiffness in the morning, he's in excellent health. And he hasn't really gotten here by luck. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. How he's gotten stronger and stayed active over the years because he does these 3 key principles that I'm going to share with you today. So I'm Jenna, and I've worked with hundreds of clients over the last 13 years in my practice, ranging from conditions like stenosis, low back pain, herniated discs, hip replacements, knee pain, you name it. And over the years, I have helped my clients recover from these injuries, mitigate chronic pain, and get stronger, healthier, and remain active into their later years. So if you know anyone that could benefit from this video, you can go ahead and share the link with them, and they can jump in our group and they can join us in this live stream, or they can watch the replay. So I'm going to give you this roadmap for getting stronger, healthier, and more confident in your body. And it starts with the first key, which is consistency. So consistency, as you can imagine, is one of the most important factors when it comes to staying strong and active as we age, because this is exactly what John did for more than 10 years. He's been committed to exercising with me twice a week. And we don't do anything too fancy or extreme. We're not doing super heavy weights. We're not, like I said, using any fancy equipment. We're not using Pilates equipment. We're using things like balls, bands, light weights, whatever he really has laying around at home. And what we do is we work on just that consistent movement week by week so that he can remain strong and mobile and really be able to move in full range through all of his joints. So we're not doing arm day, then leg day. We're doing full range of motion throughout the whole body using all of our muscle groups every time we move together. And because of that, he is stronger, his balance is better. I see improvements actually every week. He's steady on his feet, and he can actually do a full squat, which means he can go all the way down, bringing his hips down onto his heels. He can also touch his toes, doing a forward bend or doing a forward fold. And again, he didn't get here because he's lucky. He got here because of that consistent work every single week. And you might say, how is someone that's 75 able to do a full squat, bringing their hips all the way down onto their heels? Well, when I was living in India, I would see this all the time. People much older than that, in their 80s, 90s, even 100 years old, being able to do a full squat. And that really goes to show that what we don't use, we lose. And so it's so important to keep our body mobile, to keep it moving. And you really, like I said, don't need to be doing heavy weights to get stronger. So even just walking a little bit further from your car to the grocery store is going to give you a little bit more exercise. Lifting your own groceries and being able to have that core strength to lift your groceries from the cart into your car and then carry them maybe up the stairs or carry them from your car into your house. These are really important things to be able to do on our own to keep our independence as we age. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how to do that. So my number 2 key is modifications. Modifications are so important. Research is clear that older adults see the best results when the exercises are tailored to their individual needs. So a cookie cutter workout routine is really just not going to cut it when it comes to staying healthy and staying active as you age. So especially if you're dealing with some kind of joint replacement, especially if you're dealing with some kind of spinal condition like stenosis, you really want to have a plan that is specific to your body, that takes into account your health goals, that takes into account your health history, and what you've been through in your life and what your body needs. That's why in my sessions, I adapt every exercise to each individual person, whether that's using specific bands or balls, whether that's focusing on a specific joint, a specific range of motion that that person really needs to improve their health and fitness. Like my client, Kathy, who came to me with debilitating sciatica that was shooting down her leg. And we discovered that she really needed to work on hip mobility. And that one of the reasons why her back was hurting is because every time she moved, she was shearing the nerve in her lower back. And so when I gave her more exercises to work on her hip mobility, but also to learn how to move from her hip joint so that she wasn't always moving from her back, then her symptoms in a very short amount of time, I mean within weeks, started to really improve. So this is also one of the reasons why I use Pilates-based exercises and the Pilates method, especially for seniors, because Pilates was adapted. It was meant to be taught one-on-one. So these huge 20-person reformer classes that you see these days, that is not traditional Pilates whatsoever. Joseph Pilates, as I have mentioned before, he was a physical therapist before that was really even before that was even really a degree or anything. And he really worked with people one-on-one. It was a very individualized thing. And so we learn how to use that control, that alignment that fits your body instead of forcing your body into an exercise that just really isn't going to work for you and that might actually injure you. So for example, if somebody has, say, arthritis in their knees, then we can work on strengthening their legs without high impact squats. So a lot of times you'll go to see a physical therapist and they're going to give you the same exercises they give everybody else. And that's going to be maybe doing some band exercises for your hip muscles, like monster walks, squats. But I've seen these types of exercises when they're just given to, everyone and not adapted to what your body needs, they can cause more injuries. And not to diss on physical therapy, there's great physical therapists out there that work in a more holistic way, but just to show that we really each need to make our own modifications, and it can be really helpful to have someone's eye on you that's trained in this and that really knows exactly which exercises and movements your body needs that aren't going to injure you. And just to talk a little bit more about one more study. Studies show that people that are over 65 who participate in regular strength and mobility training can reduce their risk of falls by up to 30%. And so as we age, that's another thing, is we really want to be able to avoid having a fall and breaking our hip or injuring ourselves or our pelvis. That's really huge. And that's the leading cause of injury in most older adults, right? So that's why these exercises that incorporate balance and mobility are really important. And that brings me to my third key, which is mobility. And being able to move your joints through a full range of motion. So like I said before, strength alone isn't enough if we don't maintain our mobility. Like my client John, who's been able to do a full squat, then everyday activities like bending down, leaning over to pick up a box could injure you. We want to also be able to do, like tie our shoes, lean over, reach over, be able to play with your grandkids, right? We want to be able to reach overhead and grab something from a shelf without our shoulder hurting. And be able to even get up off the floor if we do fall. So that's why being able to move in our full ranges of motion in our hips, and our back, and our shoulders, and our neck, this is all really important. When this mobility decreases, then that's when stiffness and pain will often increase. And that's where my system really shines. And that's why I love the Pilates method, because every exercise is designed to move the body with control so that you don't injure yourself through full range of motion, whether it's spinal articulation on the mat or hip mobility work or gentle thoracic rotations and mobility work. So when we combine the breath with this mobility work and also with body awareness, then our nervous system feels safe. And that's also really important, so that our muscles can learn to let go of excess tension that we may be unconsciously storing and move more freely. If our body does not feel safe to move because, for instance, we've been in chronic pain for a really long time and we're anticipating that pain, then that's going to create a lot of muscle guarding around our joints to help protect and stabilize our joints. And that can also lead to a lot of pain. So we want to be able to learn how to move our body in a pain-free range of motion that doesn't cause more pain or doesn't cause more stiffness. And that's one of the things that I help to support my clients to do. Like John, who at 75, he doesn't just have strength, he has fluidity in his body. He can move into various positions. He can move smoothly from one exercise to the other. And that's because we've really prioritized that mobility right alongside the strength and building muscle. And that's why he's able to enjoy his life without feeling limited. He told me that he actually went camping for the first time in a long time the other week. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and he had so much fun that he decided to go the next week because he realized, wow, this is actually something I can still do. This is fun, and I want to be able to join my friends and be able to go camping and hiking and really just be able to enjoy all the experiences of life. So before I close today, and feel free to pop any questions in the chat if there's any questions coming up about what I'm talking about today, but I just want to add one more thing about functional strength. Because as we age, it's not whether or not you can lift 40 pounds, 50 pounds, what you can lift at the gym. What really matters is whether you can get up from the floor, whether you can carry groceries, lift your grandkids, or climb stairs without pain or fear of falling, right? So that's functional strength. Training your body to move in a way that you can actually be able to use it in everyday life, okay? And that's why I love these holistic methods of exercises where you're not just kind of isolating your biceps or your quads, but we're teaching the body to bend, to twist, to stabilize, to balance in natural ways that are really applicable to movements that you'd be doing in your everyday life to keep you independent and to keep you confident in your movement. So when strength and mobility come together in functional movement, then you're not just exercising, but you're training for your life. And that is really crucial. So if you resonate with what I have been talking about today and you'd like more support with this so that we can create an individualized plan just for you, then I would love to invite you to jump on a 15-minute reset and relief call with me so that we can just go over some of your goals and help you find a clear path forward so that you can feel stronger, more mobile and confident in your body as you age. And you can really, truly change at any age. So you don't need to be 40 to build muscle, to get stronger. You can really start now. You can start at any age, wherever you're at. So you can take me up on that complimentary call where we'll just go over your goals, your challenges, and I'll give you a simple tool that you can start using today to reduce your pain and to move with more ease. So you'll walk away with that clear step forward, knowing exactly what you need to do to reach your health goals. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one.